When we think of world religions, we often picture them thriving in peaceful lands. But what about where power meets spirituality head-on? Where the state's iron fist tightens its grip? Where dissent is quelled and devotion can be a dangerous act? Today, we're diving into a story where faith becomes a battlefield, where ancient traditions clash with modern ideologies. Our journey takes us to places like Vietnam, China, Cuba, and North Korea. Here, amidst the shadows of communism, the story of Buddhism unfolds. In China, during the Cultural Revolution, Buddhist temples were turned into rubble, their treasures looted, and their scriptures burned. Monks were thrown into jail, not for crimes, but for their beliefs. For decades, this continued until the 1980s, when China's government started to shift. Slowly, they began to rebuild temples, but under their watchful eyes, turning a blind eye to the faith's resurgence would have been naive. Then we traveled to Tibet, the spiritual heartland of Buddhism, now under Chinese rule. Over 6,000 monasteries once stood here, but today there are less than 20. The Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibet, has been in exile since 1959. His crime, leading a non-violent rebellion against Chinese rule. Our next stop is Vietnam, where after the war in 1975, pagodas were confiscated and monks were imprisoned. In Cambodia, the Buddhist population went from 60,000 monks to just 2,300 by 1982, thanks to the Khmer Rouge regime. And in North Korea, by the 1960s, Buddhism was nearly wiped out. Monks were forced to abandon their robes or face execution. Their temples were turned into museums or apartments. But why this animosity? Why is Buddhism, a religion of peace, often at odds with these regimes? The answer lies in their ideologies. Communism, with its emphasis on material wealth and an equal society, sees religion as a distraction, a so-called opium of the masses that keeps people from embracing the revolution. Buddhism, on the other hand, focuses on individual enlightenment and non-violence. This clash of values creates a battleground where one size fits all. Communism seeks complete control. Buddhism values personal freedom. Monks in Vietnam took drastic measures, burning themselves to death in protest against the oppressive regime. Tibetans faced decades of persecution. Their holy sites were desecrated, their sacred relics stolen, and their vibrant culture suppressed. For over a century, Tibetans have been resisting, clinging to their faith despite the odds. In Cuba, it's a different story. While the government allows religious gatherings, they keep a close watch on participants. Buddhist practices are often sidelined in favor of more mainstream religions like Catholicism. The question is, why did this conflict become so intense? The answer is power. Regimes like China and Vietnam consolidated power by controlling not just land and resources, but also people's minds. Religion, with its timeless wisdom and rituals, has always held a powerful sway over people's hearts and minds. So much so that many see it as a threat to their authority. Today, some regimes have eased up on religious practices, but the scars run deep. Surveillance continues, restrictions linger, and the shadow of doubt still looms over Buddhist communities. Despite the odds, Buddhism endures. Its